Welcome to How It Works, a video series from Law Sites and Law Next in which you get to see hands-on demonstrations of legal tech products directly from their developers. Today's episode, we're going to get a demonstration of Eve, and specifically its new intake features. Joining me to tell us all about it and show us how it works is Jay Madheswaran, CEO and co-founder. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me again, Bob. I love being on here.
Always good to see you. Before we launch into the demo, give us a little bit of an overview of Eve and what you do.
Absolutely. So Eve is your AI platform for plaintiff law. So what we do is we pioneered being able to work on your case end to end with AI. And what that involves is being able to digest all your data related to casework and then be able to do the work part of it. So the way the platform works, we organize things by matters after syncing with your CMS, document management stores, etc. And you'll see a bunch of matters here. And I apologize for my environment. I have a lot of random matters, so ignore it. Yours will reflect your cases. And within a matter, this is where the magic of Eve happens. One of the fundamental beliefs that I have is for technology to work, you really have to combine technology, people, and process together. And this is where a lot of the AI adoption goes wrong. So what we've done is we've worked with attorneys and we've hired quite a few ourselves internally to really solve the problem of how do you get adoption from day one. And with AI, the challenge is it's a very different way of working. It seems to almost do what you want, but the last mile always takes a little bit of time. When a new user comes in, you oftentimes don't know what you even want to do. And we've solved for all of that throughout the entire platform. So when you log into Eve, Eve actually learns from you a little bit, and based on where the case is at, will suggest the right next steps for you to take here. So in this case, we've just uploaded a bunch of medical chronologies and medical records, and Eve automatically makes a really sophisticated understanding of the case and presents to you in the form of a medical overview that includes crawling through every single record you have, goes through all the visits and visit timeline, and figures out economic and non-economic damages. But the beauty of Eve is once it does, that information is then used throughout the whole platform, right? So you can then go further into the lifecycle, create a demand, respond to discovery requests, create one yourself, prepare for trial work or depositions via conducting really thorough referenced fact search. And of course, we provide the guardrails around hallucinations as best as we can. And this is how the platform started, Bob. And what I'm really excited to talk about today is our customers kept asking for, how can I do more? So today, the platform primarily services kind of the pre-litigation and the litigation teams. And starting from today, it is actually moving further up the funnel more holistically to deal with intake managers and the intake specialist itself. And that's what we're calling our new intake AI feature. And I would love to talk about it.
Let's go on and talk about the new features.
Fantastic. So one of the difficult parts of dealing with intake is as a firm owner, you oftentimes really don't want to miss that $10 million case that could slip through the cracks. And this is a combination of multiple factors, right? So one is how you hire and staff your team, how you train the team, how you create your SOPs or standard operating procedures, so you're following through with it, and making sure you're updating it continuously to find the cases you want. And at the heart of this is a few different factors. One is the management of the staff. The second is being able to get insights from transcripts and being able to utilize that in your casework going forward. And the third is the labor component, being actually able to field calls and not miss them and be able to follow up with them as autonomously and as quickly as possible because time loses leads more than anything. As a result, we've structured the product into a few different components. One is Eve is able to field calls for you. So we have both a voice AI agent as well as we integrate with your existing call telephony systems to automatically be able to pull and categorize calls. And if it only has audio, we automatically generate the transcript. And if it doesn't, we actually have a feature called Scribe, which literally works like Granola or Zoom recording bot that you see, where it's able to live record the call and upload it right to Eve. And once you have that, you can come in and start assigning your client communications to the right matter at hand, and it'll automatically be pulled into the matter and fit in with the rest of the workflow you saw before. The part that I'm really excited about, though, is leads. So what Eve does is when you actually call into a law firm, again, based on whether you integrate via telephony systems or use Eve's voice AI agent, it'll field the call for you and actually run through the standard operating procedures you have, understand who the potential new client is, categorize it by case type, and provide a score based on your own settings of how you'd like to score your leads for how high of a score it is, how quickly should we follow up. And all of these workflows is something that we work with our enterprise partners in further building out as well. So in this case, you'll see we have a handful of calls that classified into leads. And when we click into it, you'll notice it does something pretty interesting, which is it automatically categorizes the call transcript into an analysis of what are the main things you care about. And again, just like everything else in the Eve platform, this is fairly configurable. Any questions so far?
So I think you're going to talk more about the voice agent, but the voice agent is walking through a script that the law firm has helped define in some way in order to get the information that it needs here?
Good question. So one of the key ways in which the voice agent differentiates from the current world of voice recording software is it's very dynamic. So people oftentimes they do have simple scripts they like to follow, but some of the sophisticated firms they have tree structure and what questions do you ask when they might mention a brain injury of some sort or a headache, right? You want to dig deeper into figuring out is it a TBI, which potentially increases the value of the case substantially. In addition, it's able to have a natural conversation. I'll play a bit of how the voice agent works, and it's trained for PI and L&E cases in particular. As a result, it does some things you would probably expect it to do, right? It doesn't give legal advice. It makes sure the phone number people give and names are correct. And all of these little tweaks actually matter quite a bit in being able to rely on it for potentially handling the most important part of your firm. But interestingly, the other part that's really cool about Eve is if you connect it with other CMS that supports this feature, Eve is actually able to automatically handle all the data entry for you, which is one of the more painful parts that people have trouble training their staff to do. And as a result, even if you don't use the voice AI feature that we have and your own intake specialists are handling the calls, it is a big value add because they can focus more time just listening to the client and asking up questions instead of worrying about filling out the data sheet you've given them. And we've seen this already with our beta customers make a pretty big impact in their conversion rates because they come across as much more personable and people are still looking for people. And there's a few other things I will call out here, which is just like everywhere else, you're able to dig deeper. So you can actually go upload, maybe the client gave you some files that they really wanted you to check over. You can actually upload those files here and dive further into analysis to re-qualify the lead. So perhaps the lead score was low and you could actually provide more information to it to change your understanding of the case. You can actually do that here. And it seamlessly moves into, if you want to take on this lead, into a matter where you can immediately start digging into pre-litigation work. So how did this happen? So in this particular case, the Eve voice AI agent, we call her Jenny right now. We may change the name, but Jenny was actually trained from scratch from Eve, where even the voice came from one of our employees. And I'm very thankful for her.
So
And
Jenny
I'll
is
play.
Eve's daughter. Is that how it works?
We're trying to figure that out. If you guys have any ideas on what to name it, please let me know. But if you play the audio, you'll notice that it sounds relatively natural. And in our tests, people actually prefer the voice AI agent to waiting. Waiting is not fun for anyone. So let me play a little bit of this. It takes a while, so I won't play it for too long, but I'll just play a little bit so you get a sense of it.
Hello, thank you for calling Eve Legal. How can I help you today?
Hey, yeah, I've had a bad car accident and I need help.
I'm really sorry to hear you've been through that. Before we continue, may I get your name so I can address you properly?
Yeah, my name is Serena Liu, and I was driving home on the 280 when a car hit me from behind, and since then my neck and lower back have been killing me, and the MRI showed a small disc issue. But I've been doing PT every day, and I'm just like upset about what happened, and I feel like I should be able to get some compensation.
Thank you for sharing that, Serena. It sounds like this has been a painful and stressful experience for you. Before we go further, what's the best phone number for our team to reach you?
Great. So hopefully that gives you a sense of how Eve talks, Bob. And the thing I wanted to call out, which is really cool, is this is a fully dynamic flow, but it follows your script. So you could literally the same script you use to train your staff, you could give it to us, and it trains the agent to follow that talk track. And you'll notice it does a few things here that seems obvious, but generic voice AI agent would not do, right? It confirms the name, it asks for the phone number, confirms it to make sure it's accurate, and it gets picked up in the transcript. And on top of that, then it starts going deeper into the actual case and being able to define what the case value might be. And it's trained to not give legal advice, which can get people in trouble, of course. And it handles all the objections that you normally hear this way you configure it to.
Yeah. Are law firms that are using it configuring it to identify the fact that it is an AI agent as opposed to a human?
This is actually a really interesting question, and we worked with our law firms, and it seems to be split from state to state and even the inclination of the law firm to another. But when people do, there's a few ways people roll it out. One is via routing. People will ask, hey, the next available agent is available in 5 minutes. Would you speak to Eve, which is a voice AI version? And people actually pick it because, again, they don't want to wait. And that's one way to disclose it. The other way, of course, Eve is configurable. You can also ask her to tell you that it's a voice AI agent. In many cases, though, people are actually not choosing to do it and just letting it play through because it's close enough to human that it doesn't matter. And people are smart enough to figure it out too, and they don't really seem to care. But this is one where I don't think there's really a set standard of how people want to handle it yet. So we're
Yeah.
evolving with it.
Yeah. Do you process leads at all that come in through other means, whether text or email or that sort of thing?
Yes. So that is happening soon. Today, it is primarily through phone calls and integration with telephony providers. That still seems to be the massive opportunity today where most of the
Right.
leads
And
come
the
in
ones
through
that get
there.
lost. And the ones that get
Exactly.
lost. Yeah.
Exactly. And you don't need to use the voice AI agent to make it happen. Eve also works with your Zoom or RingCentral, whatever is your telephony provider you use. It's able to integrate with that as well. So the other thing I want to call out is the really cool part about the fact that Eve integrates and you can handle all the workflows you would do with pre-litigation versus not, is even the work you're doing to coach and train your staff actually becomes a workflow. So once you end up integrating Eve for intake, Eve is able to give you a pretty good understanding of per case intake specialist to another. What are some of the things that are really working, right? And how do you amplify that even more? And that's something we're already seeing pretty big benefits from in terms of law firms, especially those that have a very large intake team. They're finding themselves increasing their conversion rates by 10% to 20% in some cases, just with that simple visibility.
Yeah. That's great. All right. Anything else that you want to show?
I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered it.
Yeah, this looks great, and congratulations on this. One other quick question is for a law firm that say they're already an Eve customer and they want to integrate the AI intake, what's involved in that? How do they go about deploying it?
Yeah, so it's relatively straightforward. Once you have Eve, many of our customers are already using Eve for uploading their transcripts. You actually can already upload an audio file and it's able to transcribe it. And that is what led to us building this feature because
Yeah.
many people were using it to do intake. All that's needed today is to reach out to us and we'll enable that feature for you. And it fits in seamlessly with the rest of your application, especially if you already have a CMS integrated and a Zoom or one of the other telephony providers integrated.
All right, Jay. Thanks so much for coming on the show and showing us all about your new AI intake.
Thank you so much. This is the first of many to come. We're super excited for the rest of the year, and I may be seeing you pretty often, Bob.
Yeah, you've got a big year ahead. I don't know if we've even mentioned yet in this recording, but you did just have a major raise, $103 million in a Series B round, so congratulations on that. And like you say, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more to come this year.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Jay, and thanks to all of you for watching today. That's it for this episode of How It Works. You can find all of them on YouTube. Just search for How It Works. We're also all up on the LawNext Legal Tech directory under the Resources tab. Look for it there. Thanks for watching. This is Bob Ambrogi.